Hey guys, it's me, Professor McJerk, and I'm here to show you a little bit of something about playing D&D for free. I know that you can sort of fall really easily down the money hole of D&D, especially like the glories of the 5e world, where you can drop like 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks at a time on a guide. But I want to sort of harken back to my D&D roots, where I was taught to play D&D in a public library and by a librarian who would then look the other way after making change for me so I could photocopy shit tons of D&D stuff. So, there's a way to do something similar now, and I thought that I'd kind of like give a little guide to that. So, D&D Beyond, you can make an account for without subscribing to, and that's going to close down some options for you. But for people who are learning to play, or people who are getting back into D&D in order to play anew with some friends, this is a really great platform to work on. So I want to talk about a couple of things. You can come in here then and you can create a character right from here, and it'll work through without you having a player's guide and a lot of the other resources. Um, People might like just run for a quick build, but I'm gonna go through standard to um, just to give you a sense of the bigger picture. You can show some text help, and that will get you a little bit of like a how-to guide. And you're going to go through, and a lot of this text comes right out of some of the player's guide material. It gives you sort of a background, like what it means to choose a race such as human or halfling, and a class like a fighter or a wizard. And these are going to be the first choices you make as a character. I should note that this doesn't represent the one D&D stuff that's getting started right now. There's sort of a new update to D&D happening. It'll be still compatible with the 5e stuff they've been working on right now, but they're working to change things like race, which kind of has some problematic, like background in eugenics, like the idea that elves are smarter than orcs naturally, or orcs are brutes that deserve to be smacked around, stuff like that. But for people just getting started, this is a way for you to start thinking. So you just kind of move through, and you can begin here with like a character name. So let's see, we're just gonna like let's Thorgold Ornoski. It's just like a great fantasy name of some kind. You can also just click like a random name generator, and then it's going to let you pick what you want to be able to draw from. These are the ones that I usually leave clicked. There's new Dragonlance content that I've got clicked, but I haven't actually made a character since Dragonlance was released. Dice rolling. Let's see. Allow or restrict. I'm gonna click all of this, and then you decide whether it's going to be by milestone or by experience. I usually keep it in milestone, because then I can decide whenever I want to level up the character. Like XP is just more limited, and it's honestly a little bit more complicated if you're gonna run it. If you wanted to run XP, um, you'll see in a lot of the campaign work where if you defeat 5 skeletons, it'll say on their stat block how much experience that you get for each, and then you kind of sort of keep track that way. But it's just not the way that I tend to play. So that would be up to you. Hit point type, fixed. I always go with manual, and it'll ask you to sort of confirm it, because that's going to be as much as possible that you can keep the setup manual. It'll give you just more flexibility to play. Let's see, the feats and multi-class requirements. We want that working, sure. Display and highlight available spells to cast with higher level spell slots. This is really useful because as you're learning the different spells, it'll remind you if you have a first level spell that you can cast at a higher level to have more effect. It'll remind you of that. Use encumbrance. This means like, are you going to be weighed down by the stuff you carry, or can you sort of carry 50 suits of armor with you? It is a question of how realistic you want to play. So I use encumbrance because you want to think, if you're an adventurer out in the world, you can't take 12 bags of gold with you from a dragon horde. You have to like take what you can carry. This also gives you the option of ignoring coin weight. I never turn that on because, again, like when you're out adventuring, you can only take what you can carry. That's sort of more fun. All right, so choosing a race, really important, and they've got this. This is why we're getting rid of race in D&D, but it gives you some background on all of that you should read up, and then you get to actually choose from races. And some of these have expansions. Like if you want to be a dwarf, there's different kinds, like a hill dwarf or a mountain dwarf. Um, Similarly, if you're a genasi, the different air elemental versus earth elemental, fire, water. Um, but others don't have drop downs, and I think for now I'm going to play a. I'm gonna try a rock gnome, and this is the character that I'll be choosing. And it gives you sort of like a little background on what gnomes do, and you can choose there. So let's see. I have dark vision, I have gnome cunning, artificer's lore, and I'm a tinkerer. It'll tell you all kinds of things about that that you can read through. But for the sake of the video length, I'm gonna move through sort of quicker. And then you choose a class, which is what kind of person in the world this character is. Being a gnome just tells you what species there are. But are they a barbarian warrior? Are they a bard, like an entertainer and a magical weaver of song and language? Are they a priestly fighter, or a monk? So you can see like these different kinds of things. I haven't done a monk in a while, and I'm trying to think like what a gnomish monk would be like. So I'm gonna take this, and it tells me I'm a master of martial arts, with the power of the body in pursuit of physical and spiritual perfection. I'm gonna be sort of a priestly kind of kung fu monk is how I'm gonna imagine this, and it gives me different benefits that it then shows me that I can expect, and it even tells me later at higher levels the things that I'll have to decide. Deflect missiles is a really great one for monks, where at third level I can use a reaction to deflect or even catch something when you're hit with a ranged weapon attack. So this is great. If somebody shoots an arrow at you, you can sort of like catch an arrow in midair, and later on there's a way that you can like throw it back, which is like always a super hard ass thing to be able to do. So I'm gonna add that, and then we work through and see, like, it tells me like what are my first level hit points. We'll roll for that in a second, but things like oh yeah. So I'm gonna manage my HP. Max hit points are 12. 1d8. Okay, got it. And I need to choose proficiencies, so it's got this here. It sort of like marks things that I need to pick. So let's see, what kind of monk skills do I want? Definitely, let's see, acrobatics I think would be like a good one for like flipping around. And I'm gonna go with religion because, like I said, just sort of like a priestly monk, and a musical instrument or artisan's tools. See, I'm gonna go with. Let me see. These are like things that I'm proficient in and that I have around. Uh, let's see. Painter supplies. Um, what do I want? I do a hand drum. I've never used a hand drum before. I don't know what the hell my monk would do with a hand drum, but I'm gonna go with that. So let's see. So then I've got unarmored defense. I've got martial arts. Other things that are available at higher levels. But I think that's everything. So I'm going to move along. Let's see. And now I can I determine my ability scores. And let's see. There's different ways. Usually, I manually enter ability scores by rolling, and this is going to say my strength, my dexterity, my constitution, my intelligence, my wisdom, and charisma. But for this, you can go different ways. There's a buying system which I've never liked. There's a manual thing where you roll dice and you collect a bunch of skills, and then you decide which you'll attribute to. Like a monk, I'm going to be really dexterous, so if I have a good roll, I want to put that in dexterity. But right now, I'm just going to go with the standard array because this makes for a nice mixed character. So I'm going to go with a standard array. And let's see. So I have, let's see, I'm going to start with dexterity. That's going to be my highest one because I'm going to be flipping around. Let's see. Let's see, what else would I need? I'm gonna say that my monk is fairly wise. From a life of religious study, so I'm gonna go with that. They are let's see, a little bit hardy. So they'll have like good constitution. They've been sort of living an ascetic life. Let's see, they're also fair. Well, I think that they would be strong, like physically strong. So I'll go here. So strength and intelligence is going to be lower. Intelligence is more like book learning, right? So maybe they've spent their time more in a naturalistic sort of like Zen-like study, but not as much time in deep books and lore. And then because they've spent a lot of time alone, and maybe they're a bit on the cranky side, like in a sort of like I don't know, like Han Shan kind of like character. They've got low charisma, right? And so this is going to give us our all of our modifiers that we're going to work with, and these are going to be things that tell you how well you do in a certain situation. That if you try a strength check to break down a door, you'll roll a dice and you get to add one to that in order to decide whether or not you're successful. If you need to, flip to avoid an attack, you'll do a dexterity check, and this will add two to it. So we'll move forward from there. So describing your character and background, this is where character creation gets super fun. And you can sort of look at all these different backgrounds. Let's see. Has been before becoming a monk was a we'll say was a gambler, had a background in gambling, but is moving away from that life, though still is okay with like a sleight of hand once in a while. They were especially good with dice, and let's see, languages, background languages. Was also let's see, was very proficient in well, this would be a little bit weird. This gnome was doing outreach into orcish communities, and was trying to sort of convert them, and so an orcish uh, language they tell. Let's see, background features will give you lots of different, like you could sort of change these. You can cut out and like tell you what kinds of person that they are, and you can work these in yourself. There's suggested characteristics like details, alignment, faith. All of these are sort of deep things that sometimes I begin playing with until I get to know a character, and then I come back and fill these in. Honestly, some people, this is the meat and potatoes of like starting a character. It's super fun. But as you're progressing into your like D&D life, like these are the things that you get better and better at. So for the sake of the video, I'm gonna move on and think about like the starting equipment. Let's see, next, let's see, starting equipment. I'm going to choose equipment or gold monk. Let's see. I start with 5d4, randomize, add starting gold. Let's see. Let's see. 5d4. Oh, so it lets you sort of just like guess. So I'm gonna start with, let's see, this monk has 15 gold to start with, and this tells you what you can buy. Your inventory starts out here. Other possessions, you can sort of add them, or by clicking, and it gives you like a place to like list things, like things that you would be carrying with you, like if you have a picture of an ancestor that is dear to you that you carry around. But to add items, you then can go through and buy things, and this is also super fun. So if you have, let's see, if you wanted to say that you begin with a staff, there's all kinds of you know really 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 like high level, like sort of like wizardy staffs, or if you have, let's see, just general like rods or weapons of other kinds. These are probably what he would have, like maybe a light crossbow, and let's see, a quarter staff. I always love a monk to have a quarter staff. So it tells you you're proficient in it. Yes, yes, yes. Cost 0.2 gold. Yes. So I'm gonna add this item, and I've added it, right? And so these are things that I have, and I can go through and find all kinds of other. If I have potion. Oh, turn off staff. Turn off rod and weapon. Potion. Let's see, I have a potion of climbing. I don't think I would have any of these like super great things. Like maybe I have a potion of healing, a superior. I don't know, like a where's the simple potion of healing? I've got a greater potion of healing. So this is. I'm gonna add this item. I've got it, and you see you can move through and build up your work there. So when you've come and you've gotten all of these things ready to go, you have the option to view your character sheet. And the fun thing is that you can play your game right from here. So if you're playing, this is like the old paper sheet. This tells you what your actions are. But if you want to attack, it tells you what they are. You haven't equipped yet the quarterstaff, so you can click here to equip it. Let's see, actions. Now your attack, you have the quarterstaff available. So this is a +4 to hit, and it tells you what the damage are. And when you have some damage done, you can see like damage. Let's see, I have. If you do 1 damage, you can sort of click in and it'll keep track of things for you. If you're a spell user, over here would be a space for spells, and also all of the other things that would happen on a sheet. So Thorgold Ornoski is ready to play, and this is all that you need in order to work that kind of play. But what do you do to actually play? And the nice thing is that D&D Beyond also has some free things to begin with. So if you go up here under sources, you can see that the basic rules is available for free, and you can read all of this. This is the basic rules that come with the starter sets that you've seen, the sort of $20 things that you can find like on the shelf at your local comic store. But all of this just tells you like the sort of walks through making a character, like I just did, how you use ability scores, everything that you need to know if you haven't played yet. This is a condensed and simplified version of the player's guide slash dungeon master's guide. So it's saving you a bunch of money, but also fun. In sources is also the Lost Mine of Phandelver, which is the starting guide that comes with that starter set too. And it's a shortish campaign, but it really walks you through everything you need to do. So if you start, unlike some of the other source materials, it really gives you like background for a first-time DM to think about how to run adventures. So this is like super, super explanatory. It reminds you like what a DM is. Like it's a referee, it's a narrator, it plays the monsters, and even like kind of gives you ideas about how you can think about that kind of playing. Like the important thing, like thinking like that you control the monsters and the villains in the adventure, but your relationship with your players is not adversarial. You're not trying to defeat them. You're trying to make them have a good time. And so, it sort of reminds you of those kinds of things and rules to game by, like how you can think about the gaming and how you could improvise ability checks. But even as you go on, you can see some parts like in Phandalin, when you get to part 2, it gives you thoughts about, like a standard guide, it gives you this sort of like introductory text that you can read. What happens if this character is still with you? But it gives you thoughts about how you can explore Phandalin, what you need to do, what you don't need to do, like, and just like if you've never DM'd before, it kind of gives you an ability to prep and think about it. It gives you sort of backgrounds on the characters and like how you might role play them. It gives you some encouragement. So from looking at all of this, I hope that it's really easy to see how you could begin doing Dungeons and Dragons for free, as sort of an entry point for the kind of work that you're going to do as a story creator, as an engaging party runner, and just like having some fun. It's low key, and after all of this, there is a deep hole to fall down of like buying stuff and trading with friends and sharing, but also like checking out libraries, because the library here owns a couple of different handbooks and a couple of larger adventure guides. I mean, you can like check those out and run campaigns fairly easily and well. I hope this is really useful. I'm going to be doing some more like sort of like background on old D&D stuff in the future. So if you like this, like, subscribe, hit like buttons, tell your friends, post on social media, get a tattoo that says Professor McJerk, whatever it is that you need to do. But come back and see what else is coming in the future, because I'm just sort of starting this endeavor, inspired by a whole lot of games that I just love to play. So take care. See you next time, and have fun.